Draw me nearer, 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 blessed Lord, to the cross where thou hast died. Draw me nearer, 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 blessed Lord, to thy precious bleeding side. So Sunday morning during prayer time, we had the music playing to this song, Draw Me Near. And the words to one of the verses stood out at me, that my will be lost in thine. Wow, I just kept having that come to my mind and I had to write it down, and I just thinking about it for the devotional for today. The words popped out at me. I've heard this song for many years, but thy will be lost. My will be lost in thine. I want God's will, not mine. And that's the key to overcoming a Christian life, is constantly surrendering our will to the will of God. So today, as we think about our Christian life, or if we need to get in the Christian life, God's will for me, what is his will for my life? My will be lost and that his will could be accomplished. He has created me, and so I am here for him. What is showing in your life? What is showing in my life? Is it God's will or my will? What are you missing out on because you want it your way? Because when God moves on hearts, he often opens doors of opportunity, and we're often asked to do something in the church or do something for the Lord in our own life that he wants us to do. And we can either go forward, stepping out by faith, or we can shrink back and not do anything. So I want to say, I will, Lord, yes, to your will and to your way. So when he prompts us, then some people say, I can't, I won't. What if? So we have to be careful of those I can't, I won't, I will, I what ifs, because anything can go wrong, but that doesn't mean it's not God's will, because he has a plan for our life and he has a purpose for our life. So I'm thankful that a few years ago, he told me to step out by faith. So we can stunt our growth if we are not willing to let go of our will and way and let God have his way in our life. So if you have a journey that you've stepped out by faith before, you know what I'm talking about. I am persuaded if I had not stepped out when God told me that my work was done at my current employer at the time, then I don't believe I would be ready to meet Jesus today. I could have been lost because there were so many things in my life that were all going astray because I was being pressured. I was being tired and just really needing the help of the Lord. And I encourage my young people, make sure you get your rest, because when you don't get your rest, the enemy starts playing with your mind and gets us off track. And so we have battles, we have ups and downs in our life. And if we don't stay focused on Jesus, and sometimes it's a major change, whether it be a job or a move or something in your life that you need to change. So when God is saying, okay, so he was telling me, come on, it's time to go. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to go, Lord. I'm walking out by faith. So I wouldn't be as close to the Lord today as I am if it wasn't for that. I wouldn't have enjoyed and been blessed by so many relationships if I hadn't have. So I'm not wanting to do it my way, but I want to do it God's way, because his way is the best way. So maybe by the world standards, I'm not maybe doing so well, but by God's standards, I'm doing well, because I'm trying to stay full of the Holy Ghost. I'm trying to stay listening to his voice. I am fulfilling my purpose that God has for me. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. He wants what's best for us. And another one of my favorite verses that I remind myself, Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. So I was thinking about this song, and I went back and pulled out the words. I am thine, O Lord. I have heard thy voice. Are we listening to his voice today? I want to listen to his voice. It could mean the difference between heaven or hell. It could mean the difference between growing in God, going forward, stepping out, or falling back into patterns that aren't good for us. And it told thy love to me, but I long to rise in the arms of faith and be closer drawn to thee. Consecrate me now to thy service, Lord, by the power of grace divine. We can't do it on our own. We've never done it. It's unknown territory sometimes. But if we do as he's leading us to do, oh, the benefits. Let my soul look up with a steadfast hope, and my will be lost in thine. Those were the words that he was giving me this morning. Oh, the pure delight of a single hour that before thy throne I spend. When he's drawing us to prayer, what a beautiful time it can be. When I kneel in prayer and with thee, my God, I commune as friend with friend. So if we're listening closely to his voice and he's telling us to step out on a new journey with him, even though it's unknown, if we stay close to him, he's promised that he will help us. John 9:4, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. And another voice says to hear his voice and harden not our hearts, because if we harden our hearts to the things of God that he's drawing us closer to do, he's calling us up higher to do, then we will maybe not hear his voice. After a while, he'll quit talking to us and he won't come back. When back to this verse, John 9:4, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. We must work as he leads. I'm surrendered to your will for my life, Lord. I have prayers that I pray and I'd say, I like this, Lord, or I think this would be nice, Lord, but whatever you see fit for me. So there's a way that we can leave it in God's hands and say, okay, Lord, if you see fit, open these doors for me. Okay. If you don't, okay. And I'm finding out that I can pray about something. I prayed about something. I've been praying about something for a while and God hasn't seen fit to do it. It just didn't work out. But then all of a sudden he opens up the door and it's not the way we think. It's not the door we think. But then when we walk through it and we stop and think about all that God has done for us, because we walk through that door, then it's amazing. And I'm so excited about the opportunities that God has given me this past week, what he's doing. And I want to be listening for his voice. So remember, little David felt very inadequate, no doubt. When Saul was there and the giant was there, he was tiny compared to Saul, and Saul's armor was too much for him. He hadn't proved it. So he didn't feel like he should use that. That's why it pays to seek God about every situation that's presented to us, every situation that we're in. Say, okay, God, is this your will for me? So he knew it was God's will for him to fight that giant. He knew that, but he knew that he hadn't proved that armor. When he tried it on, it didn't fit right. So he went to the Goliath, that tall giant, in the name of the Lord of hosts. He killed the lion and the bear by God's grace and help. And he knew that God would deliver Goliath into his hands. But if not, he was trusting in God. So what do we got to lose? We got everything to gain, and we can grow spiritually when we step out by faith. So I'm thankful that God is faithful, that he will take care of me. He will take care of you. So we have to say, I am thine, O Lord. Let me hear your voice. Let me walk in your ways. He's promised to take care of us. He's promised to draw us near to him. I want to climb higher. Have a good day.